Ooh, man, feels like it's been a while, Steeler Nation, and things have been a little rough. But I know for one man sitting next to me, whatever, virtually, whatever you want to call it, Mr. Michael Nicastro, he's now a married man. So, round of applause.
Feels weird, man. What do I got here? It's not a Super Bowl ring, but it is a ring. The
He's
Steelers are
saving
not
that.
getting one of these this year. They're not getting a ring, and probably not
Oh,
anytime soon.
man.
But I cop one. But that's one thing I could say that they're not going to have anytime soon. So, Mike won, Steelers nothing, I guess.
There you go. Welcome to the club. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
so
happy to be at the
before we
club.
get into is the Steeler season over or not, I think you have something to tell our wonderful Steeler fans on something that they can cash in. So,
Yeah, I mean, be careful betting on the Steelers, I guess, the rest of the season. But there
under.
is nonstop football action all the way through. We're obviously done with bye weeks. We're getting to crunch time. This holiday season, throw down on these big matchups upcoming with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5. That's $5 on the
Mhm.
NFL. Score 150 instantly in bonus bets. My gosh, what a promo. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook now with code 6sports. That's it, just $5 instantly to get 150 on bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Use our code, please. Sick Sports exclamation point. That's Sick Sports exclamation point, all one word. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net.
Make yourself some money. And while you're doing that, you see it on the hat. Another one of our wonderful sponsors. Why settle for a run of the mill mass produced beer when you can have the best? Upgrade your beer game, raise your standards, and taste the difference that Stoney's beer can delivers. And trust me, lately it's been delivering more than the Steelers after these games. We have to drink our sorrows away. But we'll save that for another day. We're going to hold out a little optimism here, Mike. You just got married, you're going on the honeymoon. So the Steelers have to win for you at least one time soon. So
I was happy that they lost on Saturday. And it sounds terrible if you're watching this. You're like, these are Steelers guys. They host the Jalen Warren show. But honestly, I posed the question on Twitter when they flexed the Steelers game into last Saturday, if, if we should cancel the wedding because the Steelers are playing, man. Like, we don't miss Steeler
no,
games
no,
in
no,
our
no, no,
lives.
no.
Yeah, we'll stop talking about me and focus on the Steelers after this. But you knew on Saturday people would have their phones out, people would be telling me the scores, but none of that really happened because we didn't care. The way this team is playing football right now, it was so good to be unplugged and take my mind off of it and not have to worry about the disaster, the absolute, fire that's needs put out right now surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I'd rather them lose on my wedding day than people be focused on that box score opposed to dancing around and having fun like we did.
Yeah, it was a great time. And we definitely just turned the phone off after that performance. But hopefully Mason can turn it around. Sammy, let's get to it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, and I think that that's the biggest question, and we'll just start off with that. Is the Steelers season over? Personally, I would say, yeah. They just went from what I think it was the 4th or 5th seed, and now the 10th seed on the outside looking in. You don't know what performance Mason's going to get. I think there's a lot of locker room issues. I think there's a lot of coaching issues. I think that there's a lot of stuff that they need to address in the offseason. But this is what I will say is I'm never going to count out Mike Tomlin because he'll be in it till the end. I don't think the Steelers are going to make the playoffs, but I think that they'll make it interesting and win a couple of these games down the stretch. And I'm not completely counting it out, but if I was a betting man, use our code on DraftKings. I would say that the Steelers are not going to make the AFC's way too tough, and they just don't have momentum right now. I'll let you touch on the rest.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, at this point, my answer is like, I don't care. because they're not really a good football team anyways. So
You're ready for baseball.
I'm ready for baseball. McCutcheon back today
I
officially. I'm
know,
not sure
just
if
dying.
everybody saw it, but I
Yeah.
just saw that. No matter what day you're watching this, I'll throw that out there. But I honestly, this isn't a good football team. This is a team that had everything in front of them. They're 7-4 with games against the Patriots, Cardinals, and Colts on their schedule, and they literally lost all three of them. They didn't even tread water. They lost all three of those games that they should have won, quite frankly, because they played Bailey Zappi, a Cardinals team that was 2-10, and Gardner Minshew, right, in Indianapolis in a must-win football game. So I really just don't care. I don't think they're going to make it either. I do think they'd have to win all three games to be in, given the fact that there's so many teams in front of them with the similar records, right? You're talking the Bengals, the Browns, the Broncos, the Texans, the Jaguars. There's just too many teams to pass up. The Bills, who I think could easily go to the Super Bowl now with the way they
Mhm.
are playing. And it's quite embarrassing, to be honest, that the Steelers are in this position with all of the quarterback injuries in the AFC as well. You know, you could pencil the Jets in usually if they would have had Rodgers. I shouldn't say usually, but this year probably if they had Rodgers.
Mhm.
You could have penciled the Bengals in, obviously, if they had Burrow. Many more down the line. I'm missing somebody else. Colts, Richardson, Chargers, Herbert, even though they kind of stunk anyways. There's one other big time quarterback that I'm missing, but
I mean, you can say
it's
that
just
Deshaun
it's
Watson, but the Browns are
Deshaun Watson.
still,
There's another one. No, that
yeah.
does count. I mean, another quarterback that is missing that the Steelers are going to miss the playoffs and get beat out by Joe Flacco. So I don't think they'll make the playoffs. One, I don't care. Two, and you know, I think it's just a dumpster fire right now, man.
Yeah, with that being said, Mason Rudolph's named the starter. I thought it was 2 weeks too late. I mean, the guy's been in the system for six years now.
We've
He
been
has.
calling for it. You've been
Yeah,
calling for it.
I know. I
You've been
mean, and
calling for it for weeks.
what better time? This should have happened in November, but once December hits, it's you got to go. It's Rudolph. He's
We
gonna.
called for it. Oh, nice. We called for it before the season. Do you remember that? We sat here and said, "What? Why does
What?
Mitch get the backup
Yeah,
automatically? What did he do last year to just earn the
I
backup
just
job?"
think they thought of it as he's a somewhat proven veteran. I guess you can qualify him as that. And that's kind of what they use. He did start, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, and then Pickett, now they're saying that don't count him. I can't see Pickett going this Saturday. I think that they're more of just getting him ready for the next game, and hopefully, because you don't want to go out there and then just re-injure the same injury. But I mean, I think it's great. I just think that this should have been after Mitch. I think obviously since the beginning of the season, this should have been Mason Rudolph backup quarterback. But with that being said, now I think it's just too late. It's just bad timing. Like I said, I'm not a football professional by any means, but I just think that they should have really just pulled the trigger and gave Mason a chance. And who's to say if he goes out there and throws for 400 yards and then it makes everyone look foolish and said, hey, we could have, been winning these games when Kenny was out.
Yeah, I think it'd be stupid to play Kenny. He's already injury prone as it is, and I also think regardless of who's available in the draft or who they take, he's going to be the starter next year for the Pittsburgh
Yeah.
Steelers.
You got to
Then
get an
why would
offensive line.
they risk injuring him further, a guy who's already injury prone, by rushing him back in this game when you're probably not going to make the playoffs anyway? And once again, how big of a difference is it from him to Mason Rudolph, or drop off at the end of the day? Not as significant as some people think, but I'm with you. Like, let this team have a breath of fresh air. Mitch lost to the Cardinals. He lost to the Patriots at home. I would have started Mason against the Colts to kind of just give everybody a little jolt, a little boost. Not that Mitch, not that it was all completely his
Sometimes
fault.
change is good.
Yeah, there was that interception that probably should have been caught by Pickens, who got outworked. I think it was Nick Cross or somebody like that went up and took the ball from him. And that's, if not, maybe Mitch has 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, because the Steelers could have gone in for a 20-7 lead potentially there. But I'm not going to say the Steelers' failures are simply due to Pickett's injury. This is from top to bottom, man, from Mike Tomlin on
Yeah.
down. I'm not blaming injuries. I'm blaming coaching staff and the players straight up. No excuses.
I agree. And before we jump back into these topics, I just wanted to shout out another great sponsor over at City Wheelhouse. We got our first, I guess you can say, snow. They were covered when I woke up this morning. Remote starters, custom wheel and tires, alarms, undercoating, car audio and video. I got it right here. Steel City Wheelhouse, where the bar is set. Get your winter tires. Be safe. Cars, trucks, whatever. They might even do tractors. Financing is available. SteelCityWheelhouse.com. Make sure you check them out. John over there. John and John doing great things. Tell them the Sick Podcast Steeler Crazy sent you.
Can they run over the Steelers' offensive playbook with some of those big ass tires they got there? Just grade them up on the road.
Start fresh.
And defensive schemes, I guess, too.
And I think this next topic is kind of like what everyone wants to talk about is Mike Tomlin on the hot seat. I'll say mine and throw it over to you. I think, yeah, but they're never going to let you know if he is. He's not going to tell you if he feels any pressure. Like, they don't want you. They're not going to let someone in that room with the, conversations that they're having. But I think at this point, hopefully the Rooneys, have heard the fan base and I'm sure that they do. And hopefully it's addressed this offseason, because no matter what happens this season, I think that you really have to dig deep in this organization and really figure out what direction. You have your Hall of Fame quarterback to be, Ben Roethlisberger, saying that the tradition's dead. And I think it's true. And, Tomlin responds, hey, we're not going to let outside noise in. I understand that, but that's Big Ben. I mean, he was the heart and soul of this Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl. Like, come on. Like, when it's not like it's like, just someone that, played a few years. Like, this is Pittsburgh Steeler football, Big Ben tradition, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, look at my shirt. Speak of tradition. What happened?
There you go.
Where are 43? We need 43. Polamalu, 55.
James Ferrier.
Porter. Where are dogs like this? Where are the dogs on this team?
Exactly.
Right now, man. And I know that's not exactly the Mike Tomlin topic, but I can objectively say the last handful of years he's done a good job. Not a great job, not an elite job, because they didn't win Super Bowls, but at least the last 2 years, he's done a good job. Ben's final year, aging quarterback, bad offensive line, Matt Canada, they still made the playoffs. That is a good job by Mike Tomlin. Last year, rookie quarterback, you start 2-6. Yeah, a lot of holes that Omar Khan filled. You almost make the playoffs, and you go 9-8 with a rookie quarterback. But what does that mean? That means expectations are elevated, and they were this year, and that was justifiable. And he has, for the first time, unequivocally, I can say he has done a bad job this season. Team is 7-4, primed to make the playoffs. I'm not using as an excuse for Kenny Pickett getting hurt, but you have a football team here that feels like this is their year to take that next step, to ascend to not only playoffs, but get a playoff victory and give everybody hope moving forward.
We were the preseason champions.
Preseason champs means nothing, means absolutely shit. I already went over all the injuries in the AFC, all the things that aligned for them in terms of making the playoffs, and to still not make the playoffs, which likely won't happen at this point, it's an abject failure. And it starts with the head coach for me this year.
Yeah, and I think that, in his press conference, he said it starts with him, but like, what is the change? What is the solution? You have to find the solution in all of this. If it starts from the top, and, you really just have to take this offseason to really evaluate where this franchise wants to go. I agree. Okay, so we'll get you out of here because, we got your honeymoon, a few more topics, and then we'll get the pick. But
not just yet.
The George Pickens antics, it seems like every week, he's disgruntled. I understand it's a high emotion game, but as a professional, I just feel like sometimes he's so talented, and I can't say because I'm not a professional athlete, but I can say, there's a way to conduct yourselves, and I just feel like that you can't be showing emotion, frustration. It's fine to do it, but not after every play and, bringing that in the locker room. And again, he's just such a talented guy. It just seems like this is like a every week thing. I think they're all frustrated as a whole. I don't think it's just specifically him. But, to each his own. People just may act differently, and hopefully that those guys in the locker room are there, for him to lift him up and, really boost the morale of the Steelers. Cause Lord knows we need it right now.
I mean, I got to keep it real with our listeners or viewers out there. You and I didn't watch the game live the first time. Obviously, we were partying, wedding at that time. And so I went back as picking up the pieces a little bit these last few days and watched some tape and some highlights. And I had not seen the George Pickens low light, I should say, when Jalen Warren would have scored a touchdown if Pickens throws a block or just stands in somebody's way. And I watched it and I texted a couple of friends in a group chat and I said, I just watched the Pickens block. What the bleep is wrong with this guy?
Wow.
That's literally what I said. I was shocked. I mean, the guy puts his hands on the Colts defender there. Warren is probably walking in for a touchdown. It was one of the laziest things I've seen, similar to the Deontay play a couple weeks back. But I'll give Deontay this. At least he had accountability. Today, Pickens talked to the media, and he somehow turned it around on the media, saying, you guys don't know football. You don't know what was going through my mind on that play, so stop judging me. I always hate when athletes resort to that, like, oh, you guys never played football. You guys don't know anything. Stop trying to put yourself in my shoes. Drill. Like, we have eyeballs. We can clearly see what happened and ask a very appropriate question based off of that low light, like I said, from George Pickens. It's frustrating. We're probably going to ask Jalen Warren about it when we get him on to see what his thoughts were.
And the reason he's not on is because they play on Saturday to our viewers. And
we'll have him back, you guys, today at some point. And I had my wedding last week. It was a very busy week for us. Wanted to kind of centrally focus on that. So we'll be back with a Jalen Warren show for anybody wondering why we did skip a week there. And we'll have an extra show at the end of the season. But I want to talk to him about that. We know these guys are going to have their teammates back. Deontay Johnson did today, the same way Pickens had his back. But, I mean, I'm sick of everybody having to apologize for their actions. I think it's time for,
time to
words
play
can
football.
only do so much. It's time for actions to take over, man.
I completely agree. And I really hope they get it figured out because, honestly, this team has so much talent. And, we're kind of just calling it like we see it. We want all these guys to succeed. I don't care, every 53-man person roster on if you wear the black and gold practice squad, but we're here to break it down and give you the 4-1 whatever you want to call it. So
the
Steelers
4-1-2, the 4-1, not the 4-1-1, but the 4-1-2.
There you have it. Steelers, Bengals, Mason Rudolph, Browning. I just really. You see, like you kind of said, like all these teams in the AFC, they're losing their quarterback, but, the Bengals are still playing decent. Why can't the Steelers do that? And I really, again, I really, in the bottom of my heart, not even being a homer, I think Mason Rudolph is just going to go out there and light it up. I think that, he's going to go out there and throw for 300 yards and just say, hey, this is, it might be a one-time thing. But I think he's just going to go out there and make a statement. And I think that the Steelers do win this game because I think at this point, if they don't win this game, you might as well get the golf bags ready. Because it's
funny that I hate that I agree with you. I really do hate that I agree with you. And it just,
I mean, that's just what it is.
I think they're going to win too. They beat the Bengals in Cincinnati a couple weeks back. They beat Browning before he turned into the next Joe Montana. And, they'll keep fans' hope alive barely just to break their damn hearts again like they've done for a while now. So I think that they're going to win. I think it'll be a close game. I like a kind of a breath of fresh air there with Mason Rudolph, somebody the fans can rally behind. If they would have started Mitch Trubisky.
Are you rallying behind him?
I'm rallying behind him. Yeah, why not? Caution. If they would have started Trubisky, his first incompletion, the place would have fell apart with boos. You would be hearing him from Verona over there with all the boos. Every time Pickens, there's incompletion to Pickens, everybody was just going to lose their mind. So I think people are going to rally behind Mason. That's going to feel good, give the team positive boosts, momentum. Browning, he's proved he could do it on the road. I mean, look what he did in Jacksonville to win that game 2 weeks ago. So listen, I won't be surprised if they get their asses kicked again, but just have a weird feeling they're going to pull it out and just kind of cling on to a little bit of hope these last 2 games. And hopefully for us, they do, because we want Jalen Warren in a good mood. We want to talk to you guys about a win next week. Yes. And we want to at least
We want to
have a
drink
little bit of
Stonies
faith.
and celebrate and not
There
drink
it is.
Stonies to cure
There
our
it is.
depression.
Yep.
So there you have
High
it.
voltage, baby. We need it. We need it.
Well,
Wake up, defense.
There
Wake
he
up.
is. After a great weekend, the Steelers may have lost, but he won. Congrats, Michael and Michelle. Thank you to our viewers. Like I said, we have a busy life going on right now, but we're just trying to give you the best Steeler coverage on earth. So we appreciate you guys rocking with us. We're going to be doing a giveaway coming up here too. Some more Jalen Warren autos. So make sure you check our socials. Make sure you subscribe. Tell your aunt, your uncle, whatever you're celebrating out there. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. This has been another great episode of the Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. Sammy Giuliano. Take it away.
Crying.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.